In this video, we're going to be talking Marvel Snap, specifically some token spending. I've been doing a lot of videos sort of in this realm lately. I want to talk about it with you a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below as well. But when do you want to spend tokens on what? Like, where does it go, right? Let's explore this a little bit more. A lot of the stuff that I've been doing lately is talking about the cards that I've got. I'm an earlier player. I've been playing for a little over a month now, or just a month and 2 days. Trying to build up this collection. My collection level is 835. I've got a number of caches still to go. I think in a video I did the other day, there was about 15 total. So I assumed maybe 7 more cards that I could get out of this, expecting them to all be pool 3. So I'm in this situation about when, do I use tokens and on what? I've gotten a number of decent things in the shop here. I got a Galactus that I thought about pinning. You can see I've only got 4,000 tokens to this point. I believe when you're done with the caches, what I was just showing you here, these collector caches, which run out or stop, those particular types stop at 1,006 and they turn to the reserves. I did another video about the drop rates on those and exactly, what you can get out of them. So I'm not going to jump into that. But if you need it, come to the Discord, link in the description below. We've got a graphic to help with that. But I'm always wondering, based on having that amount of caches left, getting potentially 7 cards based on the 50% drop rate, and then what to spend here, given that I don't get a ton of tokens. So I need to finish that series 3, that pool 3 set of cards. And I really don't want to get into that 1,006 threshold on the collection level higher, because I believe, and from understanding from talking to everybody else, that's when things get even harder as far as your matchmaking. I'm already experiencing it a bit. I think yesterday's video, I showed some matches where I'm just facing people with cards that I don't have. So I either got to get really lucky or just outplay them if possible, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, and so you got to get that luck to happen where you get a decent setup that you could beat them, and then you still got to play it right. So the point here is I need to know, I'm trying to figure out, what do I need to get to, what should I buy from this shop? So let's look at what my overall collection situation is at a high level. All right, so we come over here again, snap.pro. I really like this site. This, again, I did a video for a tracker on this. I'll put that link up above, or just subscribe and come to the video section. Got playlists for you. So you can see my collections here. So when I come in here to my profile, this is me, like I said, yay, a month and a couple days. When you look at my pool 3, I'm exactly 25.9% along the way there. I got 0 4s, 5s. I obviously only have the 2 that I bought. So I've got 60 cards, and what I say, 7 of those. So I'm really going to be in this tough situation in deciding when to get what cards. Now, recently I did a video where I was sort of ranking the cards in pool 3, sort of a tier list. So this video ties with that. I'll link that one above too, as a matter of fact. And that one is intended to help really guide you to say, or guide me at least, I guess if I'm going to do this for anybody, help myself and hope I help 1 or 2 other people. I hope that video really does sort of do that. So when I'm looking at this, 60 cards that I've got left in pool 3, obviously another 11 here. I'm not really stressing about pool 5 too much. We'll look at that in a second. And so when I jump back here to the in game, do I look at something like Black Widow and go, do I want to buy her? Now, she can certainly help. I mean, if you got Dark Hawk or something like that, and you can lock down somebody's, basically their hand where they're not accepting. I mean, it's only for 1 turn. Maybe you get a repeat on this. Is it let me, yeah, it's on reveal. So maybe, well, I guess it's a 0 cost card. It'd be awesome if it was her on reveal was 1 turn, and then the next turn. That'd be awesome. I mean, it might be a little OP, honestly, because anytime you got Wong, I mean, people would constantly be using her with Wong, right? Because you could lock down your opponent's cards, but in a 2 cost card, probably shouldn't do that. So I'm sitting here going, let's see, I passed on Galactus. Earlier, I passed on Ultron. I've passed on Doom. I passed on a Patriot. All really good cards. But again, I'm like looking for something here that the way I do things is I want good cards now, but I don't want to hurt myself for the future. So I'm willing to struggle a little bit now so that later I can have what really matters. Because if I'm going to spend a little bit now on these, you know, Black Widow types, Ultron types, Patriot types, which are good cards, but maybe not the best cards, then, you know, I could, that in that scenario, I short myself now, or I make myself a little better now, not great. But then later, if I don't get the cards that matter now and later, then they should make a candy. They should. A candy now and later. If I do that now, spending now, if I spend these tokens now and then I don't have the tokens to spend later, then that situation later could be even worse than the situation I'm faced in now. And the reason for that is because I'm just, the situation later is more painful. There are higher cards. There are more cards everybody has. Versus the situation now, I'm like, not everybody has all the cards. It's kind of like a situation where, you know, they've got more than me, but not tons. So I'm sitting here thinking, maybe it's better to really stick to those cards that I talked about in the other video where I'm looking at the, you know, the pool 4s, pool 5s. And let's jump to that for a second. So this is pool 4. You know, and I talked about what you'd buy here. You know, spoiler, I talked about Shuri being the main one. And then, you know, some, I guess, honorable mentions of, you know, Super Skrull, Valkyrie, Agent Coulson maybe. But, you know, you look at this and it's like, okay, I don't really need anything here. But these are the ones that, what, I think these are 3,000 tokens, which would be, I could get one of these. That's why I'd only want to spend on just Shuri. But again, now be warned, when you're, depending when you're watching this video, there's a lot of talk about her potentially getting nerfed. So looking at then pool 5, which these are the 6,000 ones again, is there anything I want to spend in here that would, if that could potentially pop up? I mean, I talked about this in the video again. It was basically Darkhawk. While these other two, Galactus and Thanos, could be decent long-term, you know, it's a lot of tokens to spend there. So I wouldn't necessarily do that. So I really think, given where I'm at collection-wise, pool 3, I think it's wise to really only get the specific cards that sort of I was talking about a little bit in the video from the other day, where it's, you want to make sure that you're only buying ones that are really sort of top notch. And you know, I'm going to open this here in a second here. So let me start opening it. So this was one set of them that I was looking at. Now I passed on Lockjaw, because this was the lowest hanging fruit of this. Like I said, I passed on Ultron. I passed on a Kingpin. All right, so these are ones that are like, okay, on there. So that's one set of it. These 3 were another 3 that I looked at, 2 of which I passed on as well. All right, a Patriot and Doom. So it's kind of like, all right, well, those are only 1,000 and I still passed on them, because I think it really is important to make sure that you guarantee that you're getting these top-notch cards. Save for, now this is outside the top 6 technically, but I firmly believe if one of these 3 popped up, boom, I am buying it, because I feel like I can use these cards anytime in almost any deck. And it's like, now, are there counters? Certainly, but I feel really good about that. So that's sort of when to spend the token, right? Now, again, these are the 4 through 6 essentially. I feel good about spending tokens on these 3, Wave, Sarah, and Death. Death may be a little bit more tentative, because I'd have to have, you know, maybe that card set there or something a little bit more destroyer, so that I could, or something that destroys cards, so that I can make sure that I get her low enough to use her late. And then what I ended it on was She-Hulk, Mystique, and Arrow. Now, luckily for me, I actually pulled Mystique and Arrow, so I was happy about that. So what I'm really looking for is She-Hulk, Wave, Sarah for sure. So that's 3 cards for sure. Probably Death, and then the 3 Dracula, Wong, and Taskmaster. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 credits worth of tokens. So I want to make sure that I save 7,000 tokens to buy these, because as you can see, I've got 4. So if I'm really wanting those cards, which I think can impact me at any level of the game, that's why I'm waiting to buy. That's why I'm not buying stuff like Black Widow or Doom. Now, if I got, like I said, the Taskmasters that popped up or something along those, or Wong or Dracula, you know, that's, again, you want to pull the trigger there. So Once I get to 7,000 tokens, then I'll look at that sort of as my net zero. And from 7,000 tokens on, I'll buy stuff maybe that's a little bit more loosey-goosey, like Black Widow or a Doom or an Ultron or a Patriot or a Luke Cage, you know, that sort of thing, where I'm like, oh, this fits well with this particular deck, but it's not gonna be the sort of like a Sarah or a Wave or a She-Hulk that can just go with so many different decks all over the place. So how to spend your tokens, sum up the video, figure out what cards you want. I've put some in some recommendations. I've obviously shortened them up here and have them in the other video. Count whatever number of tokens that is, and then save up that amount. And then make sure you have that as your baseline zero. So you can always spend when those, if you get all 7 of those in a row, for some reason, you know, the RNG gods above, RNG, Jesus, please give me the 7 gods in a row. And they do. And they grant you your wish. Your prayers have been answered. You've got that amount of tokens to be able to buy. And then anything over that, you can go ahead and spend, right? So now I will say that if you're in that 5 to 7 range, you're probably fine if something pops up that's maybe a little different, because what's the chances that you're going to get all 7 in a row or even 5 in a row or 6 in a row? Pretty slim, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this video has been helpful at all, or if you want to see any content like it in the future, please consider subscribing and hammering down that like button. Always appreciate it. Until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.